Hi, Falguni. Welcome to 11 Questions.
Hi, Taman. How are you? Nice to meet you.
Would you say you're a reader first or a writer first?
Definitely a reader. A lot of writers say that they always knew that they wanted to be writers and they had these wishes and ambitions from when they were a child. Mine was not like that. In fact, in school, I absolutely hated writing in any form. So I fell into it quite accidentally about 10, 12 years ago. So definitely reader. I think I've read most of my life, but the writing is a new thing.
And how did it come into your life, the love for writing?
My kids started growing up. I had more time on my hands. And then I think one day my mother was like, hey, listen, find something you love to do and just do it. I love learning things. So I was looking at, online courses, or I was trying to figure out if I wanted to go back to school and study a bit more, or, learn something. So I just put my, wet my feet with online classes, and I stumbled across this course called Romance Writing Secrets. And I took it. It was twice weekly and for about 6 weeks. But believe me, by the end of the 6 weeks, I was hooked. I was like, oh my God, how have I not done this ever before?
But if you couldn't be a writer, what else would you be doing instead?
I'm a STEM girl. I love science. So I wanted to be an astrophysicist. I grew up in Mumbai. My parents were a little conservative. More than that, it was our family structure that, that we got married early and all of that. And then my one thing was that to do astrophysics or to do any kind of master's or PhD in physics, I would have had to leave India and go somewhere else. And that was not going to happen in my family. So I was like, okay, if I can't do that, then might as well get married and get on with my life.
And now that you are into writing and you have written so many books, do you follow a writing routine?
Not really. Mine is like I haven't written, I think, since the pandemic began. Like I've written so slowly. So for me, it's more about the story that I want to tell. So when I get that I need to tell this story, that's when I'll write that story. It's not routine. It's not regular. It's not that every day I'll get up and I'll write for 1 hour, 2 hours, or 5 hours. It's not that. I need to, when the story becomes, when my brain is saturated with it, that's when I sit down and write it.
And is there something that you find challenging about the writing process?
Coming up with stories, I think. I think the writing for me is easy because, again, if I'm really interested in the story or the characters that I want to share with the world, then the writing comes really fast. But it's the getting to the story, like what story do I want to tell, or what kind of characters or which setting do I want to showcase. That's the challenging bit, because to find something new or something that speaks to me, I think that is a little difficult.
And when you're not writing, what else do you like to do?
I travel a lot. I read a lot. Yeah, just live life.
You were born in India. You lived in India for so long.
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing about Indian culture?
It's the literally living in each other's pockets. When I was in India, it used to bother me. I'm like, why is everyone so interested in what I'm doing, what I'm not doing? Everybody has some advice to give, or, share their two penny bits about your life, right? It gets bothersome when you're in the middle of it. But then when I moved to this country, and there's literally nobody who does that, right, on a day-to-day basis here, and that's what I miss. I'm like, oh my God, in India, you open the door, you get out of your bedroom, and there's like a boatload of people right there to, ask you something, do something. You're always busy with people around you. Here, it's not like that. So here, it's kind of, it takes you a while to adjust to the lifestyle. And I go to India pretty often. So, it's a shock. When you go there, you're suddenly bombarded with all of this. You come here and you feel as if you're sitting on a mountaintop with just silence around you.
What's something that you don't like about the Indian culture?
Same thing. They butt in to everybody's business.
True. Who are some of your favorite Indian authors?
There's Shilpa Siraj, there's Aditya Banerjee, there's Aarti V. Raman. Of course, there's Anuja Chauhan. I think some of her books have been made into movies. I don't know if Jhumpa Lahiri can be an Indian author. And that way, along those lines, I love Indu Sundaresan and Chitra
Yeah,
Banerjee
Chitra.
Karuni, correct? The Palace of Illusions.
I
I can
love her
never
writing.
get her name right. Of course, then there's Sonali Dev, who writes fabulous fiction, and she's a American Desi author. There's Nisha Sharma. Oh my God, there are so many of them. There's just so many of them, and everyone's writing style is so different and lovely that you can't really pick and choose one.
And moving on to our next question.
Okay.
Speaking of books, if you were to be deserted on an island, which 3 books would you take with you?
One is an old classic. I reread it over and over again, Pride and Prejudice, Jane Austen. Can you see this? Can you see Mr. Darcy?
I already saw that.
Yes. Then there's Outlander, Diana Gabaldon. And the third one is, I think, Palace of Illusions.
And for our last question now, if you were to pick one interesting life experience to share, what would you tell today?
Raising children. Never liked children when I was younger. I mean, I've had children because my husband loves children. I never thought that I'm not mother material at all. I'm more like a, happy friend or a naughty aunt. Like I'm the one who will, encourage them to do all the wrong things. But yeah, just to, like every stage of raising a child changes you, because one, you're responsible for someone else. You're responsible for their moral strength and character. And that, of course, is going to change you, because then you start questioning certain decisions you've made. You want to be the best person you can be so that they can see who you are and then sort of, emulate that, I guess. So that's, I think, one of the strongest character building experiences that I've had is raising children.